Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, July 10th. Tropical Storm Fay is already creating some heavy rainfall, flooding conditions across the Delmarva Peninsula. For example, Bethany Beach is already underwater, and there's some very heavy rainfall expanding to the north and west. The especially hard-hit areas today with respect to rainfall will be the Delmarva Peninsula, New Jersey, eastern part of Pennsylvania, including the Philadelphia metro region and the Poconos. Southern New York, including New York City, and ultimately southern New England will get in on some of the action. The storm is kind of wobbling to the east, although it'll become more of a general northerly track cutting through New Jersey into the Hudson Valley region of New York State later on today and tonight. And again, the zone for the heaviest rainfall from the Delmarva up across eastern Pennsylvania, east to New Jersey, and then into southern New York and New England. Here is the latest satellite imagery loop, and look clearly at the center of what is now Tropical Storm Fay right here. This is a satellite imagery loop from the College of DuPage weather website, which has some fantastic capabilities for satellite imagery. This is from the GO 16. It's in a channel that we call the RGB, red, green, blue, natural color channel. You can see it becomes very clear after the sun rises here. All of this expanding slowly to the north and west. Looks like the DC metro region, the immediate DC metro region, will be in the clear in terms of the heaviest rainfall axis, but you don't have to go too far to the east, places like Annapolis and certainly the western part of Chesapeake Bay to get in on some of the decent rainfall. And again, right now already along the east coast of Delaware, the Delaware beaches like Bethany Beach, for example, getting pounded with rainfall. Lewis, Delaware, all of this moving slowly to the north and west. Well, here's the official location of Tropical Storm Fay as of early this morning, as dictated by the National Hurricane Center. It has maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, wobbling to the east in the last few frames, but in a general northerly track. Yesterday, you may recall, there was a circulation center associated with that surface low pressure area out over the southern Outer Banks region of North Carolina. It was kind of displaced from the main moisture field, which was just offshore. That circulation center, that area of low pressure at the surface, pushed to the north and east, became better aligned with the moisture field, much more symmetrical type of storm system, and that resulted in intensification, which allowed it to become a named tropical storm later in the day on Thursday by the NOAA's National Hurricane Center. Now, this may very well be the earliest time of year for the sixth named storm. We're already up to Fay, the F storm, the sixth storm. And one of the things, however, I want to point out is you have to be a little careful when you're comparing the number of storms post-1960 to pre-1960, for example. We've had several storms already, but a lot of these are identifiable because of the satellite imagery that we now have available to us. The very first satellite image came on April 1st, 1960 at Tyros, and it made a humongous difference in the detection of tropical systems, especially over the open waters of the Atlantic. So now we are naming storms that we just didn't even know existed 60, 70, 100 years ago. And the other interesting thing about this tropical season, yes, it's been very active in terms of the number of storms, already up to 6. We're not even at the middle part of July, but another way to measure tropical storm activity is with what we call the ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, and that takes into account both the magnitude of a storm and the duration. And we have not had a long duration type of storm yet, and we have not had a storm that has reached hurricane status. All 6 have been tropical storm status. None of these have reached hurricane status. So yes, we have had an excessive number of storms already, but the ACE has not been anything extreme. Again, generally we'll move to the north over the next several hours, cutting through New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley region of New York State. Well, here's the latest radar loop coming out of Dover, Delaware, and a wall of water has already pushed into the Delmarva Peninsula. Very heavy rain falling throughout Delaware, now edging into the Chesapeake Bay region. Southern half of New Jersey already inundated with these bands of heavy showers, and this will expand slowly to the north and west over the next several hours. Again, the places that I expect the heaviest rainfall will be the Delmarva Peninsula, eastern Pennsylvania, including Philly, and including northeastern Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains, throughout New Jersey and into southern New York State, southern New England, and that will include New York City as well. Some spots could get several inches of rain out of this, and of course we have had very heavy downpours in recent days over the Mid-Atlantic region, and this is leading to flooding conditions right now, and flash flooding will remain a big concern throughout the day and night in this entire eastern Mid-Atlantic region. Again, the grounds are very well saturated. One other thing I want to point out, as is kind of typically the case with a landfalling tropical system, you have to watch out for tornadoes, especially in the eastern side of the storm track if it's moving from south to north. In this particular case, that to me tells me that the threat zone for possible tornadoes later today will be places like eastern New Jersey, along coastal New Jersey, which may be just on the eastern side of the storm track. So watch out for isolated tornadoes and, of course, gusty winds along coastal sections. But the biggest factor throughout much of this area will be the rainfall. Again, several inches of rain in many spots. Well, let's wrap up by walking through the high-resolution version of the NAM model. This is NOAA's NAM model. There's two different versions. One's 12-kilometer resolution. This is the higher resolution model, the 3-kilometer version, which has had a good handle on this particular system. This is as we begin the day right now here, early Friday, and we're going to walk through in hourly increments, and this storm system moves, kind of wobbles around, but generally moves in a northward direction over Delaware, and eventually cut through. Notice this band of heavy showers and thunderstorms push to the north and west. D.C. metro region generally in the clear in terms of the heaviest rain axis, but the Delmarva, New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and ultimately southern New York, as this storm system kind of cuts through New Jersey and goes towards the Hudson Valley region of New York State. New York City will get in on the action later on in the day and into tonight. And again, some of these regions will get several inches of rain. Ultimately, it does take an inland track through the Hudson Valley region, maybe a little bit to the east of here, wobbling to the north over the next several hours. And here we are by tomorrow morning, all the way up into the upstate region of New York. Now, the weather stays unsettled throughout the weekend and into the early part of next week in the Mid-Atlantic region, and really in much of the eastern third of the nation, with a continuation of a daily chance for showers and thunderstorms. But for today into tonight, the big news in the eastern Mid-Atlantic, very heavy rainfall associated with Tropical Storm Fay. Watch out for flooding. There's already numerous reports of flooding across the Delaware beaches, for example. Flash flooding can extend north and west today, all the way up through eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and into southern New York as Tropical Storm Fay pushes in a general northerly direction. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.